Good morning. Try it again. Good morning. That works. Welcome to the 2014 Homecoming Alumni Chapel and the National Association of Wabash Men's annual meeting. I'm Greg Estelle, class of 1985, and president of the National Association of Wabash Men. It is an honor to be here with all of you today. There is no better way to call this celebration to order than to invite Professor Richard Bowen and his acclaimed Glee Club to the front to lead us in singing Old Wabash. Please rise and join the Glee Club. The hills of Maine to the western plain, where the cotton is blowing, from the gloomy shade of the northern flank to the light of the southern seas, there's a name held dear in the color we cheer wherever we find it glowing. Tears shall rise for long in the ice that floats on the evening breeze. When the day is done, the western sun's fading in flash and glory. Across the skies of gorgeous eyes of color we love so well. We love to sit as the shadows lit and praise its song and story. We love to shout as the light dies out of the good old Wabash hill. Our prayers are always done as the sunrise and light to sing and praise the creatures day shall be a day before us. College days are past, the flowers last to last. Our greatest joy is we shall go us. Dear old Wabash, my loyal son shall never love thee. And o'er glassy walls, the white flag shall proudly flash. Long in our hearts will bear the sweetest memories of thee. Long shall we sing thy praises, O Wabash. And loud and long shall echo the song till hill and valley ringing. Spread the fame of her honored name wherever the breezes blow. Till sweet and clear the world shall hear the sons of Wabash singing. Flying free the world shall see our scarlet banner go. The honors won by his loyal son and highest rank shall sing her. Forevermore as the days of yore the kings be noble and grand. Then once again ye Wabash men we cheers for alma mater. Whatever befall revered by all may she a mean will stand. Our prayers are always done as the lights are waxing light to sing and praise the creatures they shall be a day before us. College days are past, and some flowers last as light shall last. Our greatest joy is we shall go us. Dear old Wabash, thy loyal son shall never love thee. And o'er the glassy walls, the white flag shall proudly flash. Long in our hearts will bear the sweetest memories of thee. Long shall we sing thy praises, O Wabash. Thank you. Thank you to our Glee Club, Dr. Bowen, and of course Cheryl Everett, who keeps them all on track and on key as their accompanist. Thanks also to Cheryl for the organ prelude. As the Glee Club is seated, Professor Derek Nelson, class of 1999, will offer our invocation.
Let us pray. O God of compassion, be among us today as we gather to remember and to honor the achievements of many who make this college great. We do so not only to honor them, but to think more deeply about what is good, just, and true, and therefore worthy of our praise. We lift up those who have supported them along their way, their mentors and teachers, spouses and children, their friends and loved ones. We cherish all those who work to ensure that this college keeps the best interests of students close at hand, so that we all may have the best interests of this creation at heart. Amen.
Thank you, Derek, and welcome back. Welcome home. Welcome to families and friends. You make this home better, and we're grateful for you. Coming home to Wabash, we gather at our alma mater to relive college days, catch up with friends, and build bonds with the current crop of Wabash men. In this chapel, we celebrate the people who have made and continue to make our alma mater so special and her impact so far-reaching. Homecoming also allows us to pause and celebrate the special bonds of the Wabash family, and it couldn't be more fitting than for that to be done here in the spirit of Barney Hollett, class of 36. Barney served this college in so many ways, as those of us who had the privilege of knowing he and Fran. It's almost impossible to count them all. Trustee, president of the board of trustees, college leader at multiple levels, class agent, the list goes on and on. I don't think he was a bail bondsman, but almost. Barney's fingerprints are all over the history of the college, and his spirit remains a driving force for many generations of Wabash alumni. Barney's late wife, Fran, was also a fixture on campus, a true giant among little giants. Please join me in a warm acknowledgement of Fran and Barney's many contributions to our alma mater. I mentioned earlier that this is our official meeting of the National Association of Wabash Men, and very quickly I'd like for our board of directors for that group, who are seated right up here, to rise quickly and also be acknowledged. And now President Hess will come to the podium for some welcoming remarks. Please join me in a warm round of applause for Wabash's 16th president.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome home to your alma mater. Laura and I discovered many things in our whirlwind first year here at the college, and we learned about many of the unique traditions at Wabash College. This Homecoming Alumni Chapel is one of the greatest of all Wabash traditions. On this day, the National Association of Wabash Men holds its annual meeting, and they've been meeting over the last day or so. The business of which is a celebration of all the college's loyal sons and the welcoming of some honorary alums to the ranks of our college. I wish a hearty congratulations to all of today's award winners. You alumni are the great stories and the great proof of the wonderful things we do here at our great college. And the epistles and the investment that you make in your professions, in your communities, in this college are well recognized. We are indeed grateful for all that you do for our great college. To highlight just one aspect of our awards ceremony today, I want to talk a little about some of the honorary alums we'll be bringing to the college. I'm pleased that I was able to listen to a talk by one of our new honorary alums, who's a legendary professor, poet, and storyteller, namely Bert Stern. As we have traveled the country, Laura and I, to hear about the stories of the college, we always ask, who is one of the professors that made the biggest difference in your lives? And there are some well-known names that emerge, and one of those names that comes up time and time again as a faculty member who made a difference in so many people's lives is that of Bert Stern. And so, Bert, we're very thankful to have you here today and to give you that honor. I'm also pleased as well to honor two legendary figures here in Montgomery County, Jim and Susie Smith, who had 4 sons that matriculated to Wabash College and whose civic leadership is worthy of our highest praise. So I'll keep it short and I'll keep it sweet. Please, everyone, it's homecoming. Welcome home to Wabash College, our great college. Thank you very much.
And now we proceed with the awards. We'll start with the Alumni Admissions Fellows Award. The college's recruitment programs, easy for you to say, specifically the use of our alumni, continues to be a model for other colleges and universities around the nation. Many of the admission successes over the last several years can be directly attributed to the impact of our alumni and the powerful team of our admissions professionals and our admissions alumni volunteers. Today we honor two of the best, difference makers for Wabash, recruiting in their local areas and on campus. These men have modeled the Wabash experience in their lives and through their efforts to assist our admissions teams. I have to remember how this is set up. Jeff Solar, class of 2012, please join us. Jeffrey Michael Solar, brother, it has become clear to this association that there is no end to your passion for Wabash or to the amount of creativity you are willing to pump into your efforts to spread the fame of her honored name all the way down in Houston, Texas. Many of us are well aware of your crowdfunding efforts that allowed you to bring 4 advisees to campus last fall. That approach and your outstanding teaching skills honed as a member of Teach for America clearly made an impression on those young men because all 4 of them applied to the college and one of them matriculated in the class of 2018. The admissions office informs us that another 2 of your students from your high school were also admitted to Wabash for this class. Talk about an amazing number. At a high school with just 81 students in the senior class, and we're guessing that maybe a few of those were female, 6 of them applied to Wabash. 4 were admitted, 3 won prestigious honor scholarships, and another was a finalist for our Lilly Award. One of them is a Wabash man. Last year's efforts were superb, and they built nicely on your previous success when 2 of your students applied and 1 matriculated in the class of 2017. For your unwavering and entrepreneurial efforts to introduce young men to Wabash, the National Association of Wabash Men is proud to name you an Alumni Admissions Fellow. Jeff Solar, you are some little giant. Our next winner, Oscar Torres, class of 2001, is unable to join us today. Our good brother in admissions, Chip Timmons, will do the next best thing, and that's hand-deliver the award to Oscar at his school. But Walter Blake, who recruited Oscar as our first student from the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, will come up and accept the award in Oscar's absence. Here's an excerpt of the citation. Oscar Torres, you have been an eager and able extension of our admissions office staff down in McAllen, Texas, since becoming a teacher and coach at Far San Juan Alamo Memorial High School in 2010. You work closely with the school's guidance office to promote the college's top 10 scholarship program, and each year Wabash receives 6 to 10 applications from Memorial students. In addition to your tireless efforts in referring young men to Wabash, we know you plan a pretty fine road trip too, and this is important. It's a long way from the Rio Grande Valley to Crawfordsville, 1,418 miles to be precise. But that hasn't prevented you from chaperoning groups of 15 to 20 students on visit programs here at the college. He's driving them. Keep that in mind. We know you like to visit your alma mater, but having responsibility for that many high school seniors provides an interesting interpretation of our old saying, it won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Therefore, the National Association of Wabash Men is proud to name you an Alumni Admissions Fellow. Oscar Torres, you are some little giant. The Alumni Career Services Fellow Award recognizes the important contributions of a Wabash alumnus in guiding and preparing our young men for life after Wabash. Marty Brown, class of 2006, please join us. Marty, the staff in the Schrader Center for Career Development and the students who benefit from its programs would like to clone you. Since almost the day you graduated from Wabash, you've been a helpful and willing resource for the Schrader Center. You advise students by email, phone, and in person, and you have grilled, the grilling is important at times, and guided them during mock interviews so that they are more confident and better prepared for the real deal. You have shared with the men of Wabash your soaring entrepreneurial spirit, which is on full display with your latest venture, Felix Plus Iris, an innovative and personalized way for consumers to shop for eyeglasses. You have hosted new graduates in your home when they had no place to go. You have been a rock star at the Schrader Center's annual Entrepreneurial Summit, where you teach, counsel, and motivate our students to pursue their dreams. You have recently relocated to Central Indiana, which is very exciting for the folks at the Schrader Center. But while you have come here home, you were enormously generous with your time, talent, and treasure while you lived and worked in New York City. You were extremely involved in our many PIE trips to the Big Apple. PIE stands for Professional Immersion Experience, but PIE, Big Apple. And your connections deepen the experiences of our students. Marty Brown, you embody the best in Wabash because you give back in ways that truly and directly benefit our students. You are honest, helpful, and approachable, and you push our students to become all we imagine they can become. Therefore, the National Association of Wabash Men is proud to name you the 2014 Alumni Career Services Fellow. Marty Brown, you are some little giant. Our next award is the Jeremy Robert Wright Young Alumnus Award. Jeremy was an outstanding 1996 Wabash graduate, brilliant student, successful athlete, and courageous soldier who made the ultimate sacrifice in the service of our nation in Afghanistan. This award goes to a graduate within the past 15 years who has distinguished himself by devoted service to Wabash, outstanding contributions to the community in which he makes his home, or outstanding contribution to his chosen vocation. Our award winner is Delayed en route. Jeremy Bird, class of 2000. We will summarize the citation. And I'll note that there was no small amount of concern about recognizing someone who has had great success in electoral politics for an Alumni Award of Merit. For those of us who have engaged in that arena, we cannot help but be impressed by Jeremy's extraordinary accomplishments. Agree or disagree on the politics, Jeremy has been a game changer, a real, true game changer in an area where, frankly, we need more people of honor like him. So, Jeremiah Charles Bird, your opponents must have believed they had encountered your prophetic namesake when, as National Field Director for Barack Obama in 2012, you used cutting-edge analytics to predict and deliver victory to the incumbent president. But the motivation for your work is people, not numbers. Last year, when you spoke to Wabash students about your vocation, you asked them to imagine a trailer park in High Ridge, Missouri, and a scrawny 7-year-old boy walking down a trailer's hallway at night, listening to his mother and father talking at the kitchen table. His parents are wondering how they're going to find the money to pay for health care if something happens to their kids. They're wondering when they'll need to go to grandma's house because they've run out of money and need a good meal. That young man was Jeremy. Jeremy said in an article in the Wabash magazine, quote, "Every day that I go to work, I think about kids like that." Kids who watch their parents work hard but still remain one problem away from catastrophe. Every day that I get up, I'm fighting for that kid who lives in that trailer park and his parents. Your mother worked at a Kirkwood High School in Missouri, took a job in the IT department to assure that you could have an outstanding high school education. Those of you from the St. Louis area know Kirkwood in the high school is a very, very strong program. Thanks to that effort, he was able to come to Wabash. In your junior year, Jeremy, you took the advice of your advisor, Professor Bill Plaker 70, and others to study abroad, attending the University of Haifa and living in a kibbutz. You witnessed firsthand the Arab-Israeli conflict and became fascinated by the role religion plays in politics. Determined to integrate your religious faith with political action in the field of conflict resolution, you again took Professor Plaker's advice and enrolled at Harvard Divinity School, where you also took classes at the Kennedy School of Government. Through those classes, you got a real taste of community organizing, converting lessons to action by successfully lobbying the Boston City Council to increase funding for public education. You called this the first time that you realized, quote, you could actually change the world. And you've been changing it ever since. Your efforts in 2007 as South Carolina field director for Barack Obama's campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination drew national attention. You helped create and implement that campaign's neighborhood team organizing model, an approach that transformed organizing in presidential politics. You later served as the campaign's director in Ohio in the 2008 general election, helping to secure victory, a feat you repeated nationally for the 2012 re-election campaign, when Rolling Stone magazine dubbed you the campaign's field general, and you were named one of the Obama campaign's real heroes. Since that campaign, you've co-founded 270 Strategies, a political consulting firm that uses grassroots organizing and effective analytics to build winning campaigns. This year, you joined the Wabash College Board of Trustees. Former Dean of the college, Gary Phillips, told graduating seniors last May, liberal arts education teaches us to tackle life or death issues, not dodge them, to go to the aid of the innocent and those subject to injustice and defend them. We are inspired to see this liberal arts education exemplified in your life as it was in the life of the young man whose name graces this award. And the National Association of Wabash Men is pleased to honor you with the Jeremy Robert Wright Young Alumnus Service Award, Jeremy Bird, Some Little Giant. We may have to make that award at his first meeting or something associated with it. The Alumni Awards of Merit are the highest honor the National Association of Wabash Men can bestow upon a fellow alumnus. Today, there are 3 additional awards that we present. The Frederick J. Urbaska Civic Service Award is presented for exemplary community service. The Clarence A. Jackson Career Service Award recognizes service rendered in a chosen vocation. The Frank W. Mish Alumni Service Award is presented to an alumnus who has given truly exceptional service to our college. We'll start with the Urbaska Civic Service Award. Ray Yovanovich, class of 1984, please join us. And Belinda. Belinda, come up here too. You'll understand this in a minute. Belinda's been an important part of Ray's service. Only days after Typhoon Yolanda battered the Philippines last November with 195-mile-per-hour winds and a tidal surge of more than 20 feet, killing thousands and leaving millions homeless, you and your wife, Belinda, flew to the archipelago to check on her family and your friends from your early years in international investing. What you saw there moved you to action. You wrote, quote, "The sheer magnitude of the devastation is staggering, yet the fortitude of these people who have lost everything is inspiring." Within days, you and your friends were procuring and distributing relief goods in Leyte province. Together, you created the Yolanda Project Foundation, helping establish a field clinic and pharmacy, continuing aid as government efforts ceased, and then beginning a second phase of the project to provide clothing, shelter, mosquito nets, first aid kits, and school supplies. Some might have wondered, some of us who may have been here in the early 80s, when did this guy who spent a quarter century as a top economic researcher and financial fund manager throughout Asia suddenly become a philanthropist? Those of us who know you, while moved by this new endeavor, were not surprised. Philanthropy, the love of humanity, was part of your Wabash student days when your hair was much longer, and most folks called you Ray J. Still do. You assisted the Montgomery County Special Olympics, taught handicapped children to swim, volunteered with Crawfordsville Big Brothers, all while serving in the Student Senate, Sphinx Club, WNDY Radio, and numerous roles within Phi Gamma Delta. All that in addition to being a varsity swimmer and track athlete, not to mention the enduring the rigors of a major in biology. But the clearest harbinger of your eventual service to the survivors of Typhoon Yolanda is a fading black and white photograph of your 20-something self, surrounded by school children. You are dressed as the Easter Bunny. And a young boy is asking you a question, and you are leaning forward and listening with rapt attention, ready to help in any way you can, aware of but unfazed by the fact that two big floppy ears extend from the top of your head. St. Francis of Assisi called it being a fool for God, the willingness to disregard one's vanity and comfort to place the needs of others above our own. It is the heartbeat of philanthropy. It engenders empathy and frees you to see and do what needs to be done regardless of risk or what a cynical public may say. Apparently, it can make its first appearance in one life's wearing bunny ears. A similar impulse led you to start a charity effort in Hong Kong in 2011 to honor Belinda's successful struggle against cancer and raise money for cancer-linked support centers. You grew your own hair long, just like the old days, donating 10 ample ponytails to Pink Heart Funds, which provides wigs free of charge to cancer patients. More recently, you established a scholarship fund here at Wabash, where you have freely shared your many connections and vast expertise in international economics with Wabash students. Some of this generosity you learned from your father, Robert Jovanovic, born in Serbia, captured and imprisoned by the Nazis in World War II, then liberated by General George Patton's Third Army. He immigrated to the United States and became a passionate patriot of his adopted country. But he never begrudged his former captors returning to visit Germany, where his friends there became your own. His worldview, enemies become allies, shaped your own as you encouraged investment in Asia during the most dramatic 25 years of economic transformation in world history. In an interview for Wabash Magazine as you prepared to take early retirement from international finance, you said, "Dad stressed to me that the greatest measure of a man is his legacy. He asked me, 'What have you done to improve the lives of others?'" And so here you are, carrying on your father's legacy as you create and live out your own. You make your alma mater proud, even as you cause us to reflect and reconsider our own priorities in this difficult world, and therefore, the National Association of Wabash Men is proud to honor you with the Frederick J. Urbaska Civic Service Award. Ray Jovanovic, some little giant. For the Clarence A. Jackson Career Service Award, I asked Jim Demos, class of 1983, to join us. And I got to tell you, it's hard to do this with guys you were in school with. James Demos, the National Association of Wabash Men would be proud to honor you today for your more than 30 years of engaged service to this college. You have strengthened it as a volunteer, generous donor, and as president of the NAWM, not to mention your efforts to recruit young men to Wabash, shepherd them through college, and find success after graduation. Today, however, we are pleased to lift you up for your professional achievements as an attorney with success across a wide swath of the law. You are a litigator who focuses on the business community, massive, sprawling cases involving antitrust, contract and copyright law, as well as entertainment, media, licensing, trademark, and patent law. You are a leader in combating the seemingly lawless sector of cyberspace where software piracy and intellectual property theft are all too common. Your work in these areas, including some minor cases, involving tiny entities like Google, Microsoft, and Twitter, is nationally known and respected. You came to the college in 1979 from Merrillville, Indiana, and you left your mark at Wabash as an officer of Delta Tau Delta and Student Senate, and as a member of the Sphinx Club and broadcaster at WNDY. A political science major, you earned your law degree from Washington University, St. Louis, and were admitted to the Indiana Bar in 1986. Today, you are a partner at the Indianapolis office of Frost Brown Todd, and you are admitted to the Supreme Court of the United States, U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, Seventh Circuit, and Federal Circuit, as well as the U.S. Court of Federal Claims. You have served as president of the Indianapolis Bar Association, been named an Indiana super lawyer, and listed among the best lawyers in America 8 times each. You are named Lawyer of the Year for your work in litigating intellectual property suits. You have been a fellow in the Indianapolis, Indiana, and Federal Bar Foundations, named a Kentucky Colonel, serve on the IU Moore School of Law Board of Visitors, and made the IBJ's 40 under 40 list just a few years ago. You received national honors when you were elected to the Board of Governors of the American Bar Association, where you chaired the board's finance committee and offered leadership on its executive committee. You are the current president of the Indiana State Bar Association. Attorneys around Indianapolis refer to you as a lawyer's lawyer, someone who provides wise counsel to counselors. We couldn't agree more, but wise, effective counsel is not your only passion. You found pro bono work for those living on society's edges equally invigorating, reuniting son with an imprisoned and now rehabilitated father, coaching youth football and leading youth soccer organizations, changing lives with a deft touch and a healthy dose of compassion. Reflecting that compassion, you have served as a board member of Indiana Legal Services, Heartland Pro Bono Council, Children's Bureau of Indianapolis, and the International Violin Competition. James Demos. This college has a proud history of producing alumni who have excelled in the law. Peck, Daniels, Hollett, Ristine, and Kendall, to name a few. In your legal practice, you represent the highest ideals of Wabash College. You think critically, act responsibly, lead effectively, and live humanely. Moreover, you conduct yourself as a gentleman and responsible citizen at all times. You are an inspiration for our alumni, students, faculty, and staff. Therefore, it is with the utmost pride in the recognition of your achievements as a thoughtful, passionate, and much respected attorney that we honor you with the Clarence A. Jackson Career Service Award. James Demos, some little giant. The final Alumnus Award of Merit, the Frank Misch Award, goes to Dudley Burgess, class of 1964. For the first time, I suspect, in decades, though, Dudley and Judy are not here. They are halfway around the world in South Africa. So we have made arrangements to deliver the award in December at the Wabash Club of Chicago's Christmas party. Here's a portion of Dudley's citation that may give you a taste of the difference he has made to our alma mater. Dudley A. Burgess, standing among the membership of the National Association of Wabash Men must be a pretty familiar feeling for you. You hardly ever miss our annual Homecoming Chapel. But he has been a mainstay at our commencement and reunion weekends for as long as any of us can remember. You grew up a townie. Your father was a farmer and bookbinder at R.R. Donnelly, and you married the prettiest girl in town when you wed Julie shortly after commencement. You have never strayed far from Wabash, whether life took you to Nashville, Vietnam, Kokomo, New Jersey, or Chicago, and you have always given of yourself when asked to serve and lead your college. You rallied alumni in towns all across Indiana while working for Indiana Bell. In 1974, you were tabbed to become the area chairman for Wabash's first comprehensive capital campaign, which was a rousing success. You stepped up even more as a member of the campaign executive cabinet during the $136 million campaign for leadership. You were elected president of the National Association of Wabash Men and later served 2 terms as an alumnus trustee. For more than 2 decades, you have been a stalwart supporter of the Wabash Club of Chicago, someone who regularly refers outstanding young men to our admissions office and, along with Judy, have hosted the men in our education studies program during their Chicago urban education and cultural experience. You have given selflessly to Wabash for half a century and never asked for anything in return. Today, the National Association of Wabash Men is proud to place you in the spotlight for all that you mean to your alma mater and present you with the Frank W. Mish Alumni Service Award. Dudley Burgess, Some Little Giant. The highest award we can bestow upon someone who is not an alumnus is to make him or her an honorary alumnus or alumna. In the true spirit of this homecoming weekend, our newest alumni, as Dr. Hess mentioned, personify the spirit and commitment that sets the Wabash community apart. Jim and Susie Smith, if you could please rise, and Dr. Hess, if you could join them. The National Association of Wabash Men takes great pride in helping forge lifelong relationships between the alumni and the college. Jim and Susie, today we are honored to lift you up as shining examples of the powerful bonds that parents form with this great college and to welcome you into the ranks of our honorary alumni. And it is more than fitting that you join the chorus with your 4 sons who attended Wabash in singing thy praises of old Wabash. As parents of Wabash men, you are indeed in rare company with those who have simultaneously written 4 tuition checks to this college. The 2 of you have been iconic figures in Montgomery County all of your lives, active, participatory citizen leaders. As the president and owner of HC Industries, Jim, you led a company that was one of the nation's top manufacturers of steel and plastic bottle caps. Scores of Wabash alumni remember working part-time at your company as a way to pay for college. Jim, you counted among your close friends legendary Wabash figures like Butch Shear, Ben Rogie, Byron Trippett, Norm Moore, and Frank Sparks, especially after taking the reins of the company from your father in 1955. While the engineering skills you learned at Purdue guided the technical aspects of your work, your Wabash friends were instrumental in teaching you how to manage people and run a thriving business. You once said, quote, "The study of the liberal arts gives students today an opportunity to confront the questions about what they really believe. It also gives them skill sets in writing and thinking things through and having an opportunity to debate those questions with other students and faculty," end quote. Your support for the Wabash Institute for Professional Development, a liberal arts focused program for engineers and managers, allowed your employees and others like them to receive a strong foundation for leadership. While Jim was leading HC Industries, Susie, you were supporting Wabash College theater productions by creating costumes and assembling props. It was you, Susie, who designed and crafted Wally Wabash's famous papier-mâché head, which That head lives on in the college archives and in all of our memories. As community leaders, the 2 of you were the driving force behind Montgomery County's support of Wabash's campaign for continued independence and excellence. in the 1980s. Your gifts to Wabash helped fund the renovation and expansion of Lilly Library and the Fine Arts Center, and your family has long supported the arts in this community. You were also instrumental in establishing the Fred N. Doherty Award, which was endowed by HC Industries and is awarded to a student from Montgomery County who has shown intellectual achievement and social growth as a result of his Wabash education. You have been loyal and consistent donors to Wabash's Parents Fund and the Annual Fund. Recently, during the Challenge of Excellence campaign, you established the James and Susan Smith Family Scholarship to support Wabash men in the college's dual degree program with Purdue University, because you are convinced that a liberal arts education brings immeasurable value to a person entering engineering fields. Jim and Susie Smith, your legacy in Montgomery County and here at Wabash College is secure. You model for younger generations what it means to be service-minded citizens, and this community is stronger and more robust because of your love and dedication. Therefore, it is with great affection and gratitude that the National Association of Wabash Men names you, Jim and Susie Smith, honorary alumni in the classes of 1950 and 1975. It is my honor to welcome you into our ranks and offer you our highest praise as some little giants. Professor Bert Stern, if you would join us, please. I wasn't such a diligent student at Wabash at times, and so guys like Bert Stern scared the living hell out of me. But I am grateful for the example that you've set for us. Herbert J. Stern, ragpicker's grandson, Milligan Professor of English Emeritus, poet, scholar, biographer, your teaching and writing, your voice and your life have been dedicated to bridging disparate worlds. You have done so splendidly, and you have left a formidable imprint upon generations of Wabash men, even those who didn't take your class. You arrived at Wabash in 1958 as a self-proclaimed Easterner in the Midwest, a progressive person in a very conservative school. You embraced being an outsider, and for 39 years you made your otherness the catalyst for connections and dialogue with more than 4,600 students. Let the words of some of those students serve as testimony. Quote, "Being taught by Bert Stern has been the single most dangerous fact of my life." That's Auburn University English professor Jim McKelly, 1981. He continues, "He showed me that the American classroom must always contain moral challenge, that teaching is art, and that the line between faith and doubt can only be danced." End quote. Hugo Award-winning author Dan Simmons' class of 1970 recalls, quote, "Bert was the first writer to tell me I was a writer." Think about that, career that set in motion. And Dennis Kennedy, class of 80, expressed a sentiment that so many of your students would echo, quote, "I did most of my best work for Bert, although it was usually on the second try," end quote. Students from the early 60s remember you knowing the coolest folk songs. Those in the late 60s and 70s recall a social activist protesting the war in Vietnam. Others remember your homestead on Sugar Creek, your commitment to the environment, your travels to teach in Greece and China, your La Follette lecture on Wallace Stevens. Some heard you revving up your motorcycle in the mall, while others, your return to your Jewish faith is documented in your second La Follette lecture. But whether their Bert Stern sported button-down shirts and skinny ties or wore a full beard and Greek fisherman's cap, all of your students remember you as a master teacher whose explorations enriched the classroom and their own lives. As our own Susan Cantrell wrote, quote, "Professor Stern is not a chameleon shedding one skin for another, but a rock, adding layer upon layer until its shape is something firm and true," end quote. You told Susan, "There's a sweetness to our students that has always drawn me. They're less jaded than students you'd expect to find in big universities. There's a kind of openness. I can't tell you how much I love them and how much I want for them." The affection was mutual. Dozens of your former students sent their messages for a book your daughter Anna put together to celebrate your 80th birthday. Your vast group of admirers extends to your colleagues. Professor Warren Rosenberg, who I just right back there, called you the department's enforcer of excellence and our model of the best scholar, poet, teacher, activist, intellectual, and critic. Professor Toby Herzog wrote that your voice has been like a father's, which has provided us with a sense of compassion and guidance for those of us who must carry on without him. Yet without us, you have been carrying on just fine, continuing to build bridges between different worlds. You have helped launch a journal featuring the work of Vietnam War veterans, working with Vietnamese poets. With your wife and fellow poet, Tam Lynn Neville, you teach people on probation that in the Changing Lives Through Literature program. Also with Tam, you co-founded Off the Grid Press, publishing books by accomplished poets over the age of 60. And with Dr. Hilton Hudson, class of 1980, you co-authored The African American's Guide to Heart Disease, Heart Treatment, and Heart Wellness, a different venture from some of your others. You once said, quote, "Life finally becomes a question of whether you're living in a book that somebody else wrote for you or whether you struggle with God's help to write your own book," end quote. Two of your own books and their subjects serve as bookends to your remarkable Wabash career. Soon after you arrived at the college, you embarked on an exploration of the art of the poet Wallace Stevens, who himself navigated between two worlds, his day job as a lawyer and insurance executive, and his life of imagination as one of the 20th century's most important poets. The final words of your 1966 volume, Wallace Stevens, Art of Uncertainty, might equally be written about Easterner in the Midwest, Bert Stern. And you wrote, quote, "He would remain the master of two styles and the uneasy lover of two worlds, the one that is and the one that might come to be," end quote. Your just published book on Robert Winter, Wabash class of 1909, returns you to research that you started in the 1980s. Winter was the college's oldest alumnus when you first met him in China in 1984, and then returned for his 100th birthday celebration in 1987. In Winter in China, An American Life, you have honestly told the story of a man you call a Hoosier in exile, a Crawfordsville native who, in your words, quote, "wished to devote his life to bridging the cultures of the West and that of the East," end quote, and who did so as an educator in China for more than 60 years, even at considerable personal costs. With the publication of Winter in China, you have fulfilled an implicit promise made to the singular Wabash man on his deathbed, and as his friend and Harvard historian John Fairbanks said, succeeded in, quote, "bringing Bob Winter back in the world." You left the Wabash classroom 16 years ago, but you never stopped teaching, showing us how to grow older with hope and imagination, embodying the Wabash mission statement that your friend and fellow professor Donald W. Baker wrote, quote, "living humanely in a difficult world." You've shown us that these can be the years we learn. You've shown us that these can be the years we learn the most, give the best, and come to truly love those we've been given to love. You bring to mind words Baker wrote in his own later years, quote, "I am in it with all my heart," end quote. In Coming Home Late, your final La Follette lecture, you called yourself an exile here in Crawfordsville. Today, we honor, cherish, and embrace that outsider's perspective, a vantage point that brought other worlds and ways of thinking to thousands of Wabash students. By inviting you, Bert Stern, teacher of men, to come be at home with us, your fellow travelers. You made Wabash the place of your calling, and by doing so, you helped make it home for so many. Wabash is grateful indeed that Bert Stern chose to serve almost 40 years of voluntary exile here. And because attaching your name to the phrase gives it meaning in a way that would so deeply affect your fellow teachers and students, from Don Baker to Bill Plaker, the National Association of Wabash Men says this with pride and deep affection: Bert Stern, you are some little giant. Let's give one last round of applause to all of our award winners, please. And since this is a meeting, an official meeting, we have one piece of business to conduct today. This gathering serves as an open meeting of the alumni body, the National Association of Wabash Men. In accordance with our Constitution, we elect at this meeting a committee of 3 alumni canvassers whose main task is to count the ballots for alumni trustee next April. The recommended canvassers are Greg Miller, 83, Jack Foos, 73, and Pete Allen, 73. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ballot is approved. Thanks to all of you for attending today's Homecoming Alumni Chapel, and congratulations again to all of our award winners. As a reminder for those attending, the Celebrating Leadership Luncheon will follow this chapel at 12:15 in the Allen Recreation and Sports Center. For those of you not attending the lunch, we hope to see you at the football game that starts at 2 p.m. Now, please rise and join me as we salute our college and the Wabash family by singing the alma mater, led by the president of the Glee Club. Come on up, fellas. Chris Dabbs, class of 2015. Oh, Chris is not here? Okay. Who's the leader then? Dr. Bowen will be standing in for Chris. Oh. Do you want to participate in the coup? No.
These fleeting years we tell.